All right. So I'm here. I'm going to plug in my microphone. I think it'll work. I think that's good. All right. I think we're live. So I'm just going to, sorry, I'm moving things around so I can see my content properly. So I'm excited today for my live. Today we are looking at what type of tarot reader am I? So before I do that, I want to look at the different types of tarot readers to give you a little bit of context so that you can understand a little bit more once I tell you what type of tarot reader I am. And often we get kind of put into the same categories. Tarot reader, people just don't know what tarot readers are, which is fine. But at the same time, it can be a little bit frustrating because kind of like a mesotherapist, right? A mesotherapist won't necessarily, let's say, okay, because people go to for massages for different reasons, right? So let's say you're going for a massage to relax, to rejuvenate, to just kind of let someone, it's very therapeutic to have someone, massaging muscles, right? Or if you're going, let's say there's a woman and she needs, pressure release at different places in the back, around the belly, and the massage will be different. Let's say an athlete who, often will either come for an injury or not necessarily even an athlete. If let's say you have an injury, a mesotherapist can really, really make a difference in being able to, get to the root of that injury, right? And start releasing the muscles and then undoing the knots. And we all know how beneficial a mesotherapist can be, right? And so I give you this example because tarot is the same thing. There are so many different kinds. Like even let's say you're going for a relaxing. Well, there's Swedish. There's so many different kinds of massages. I don't have them in my mind right now. And same thing, a deep tissue for the healing, like the for an injury or whatnot. So it really, really depends. Each type has each uh, need can be met by a different type of mesotherapist, and it's the same thing for a tarot reader. So knowing this, I want to kind of get into there are more like, how can I say, recent, more modern types of readers, and then you'll have the more traditional that have been around a little longer as well types of readers. So let's jump into the a bit more traditional, those that have been around a lot longer. We start with the psychic tarot reader. So let's go into that. What's a psychic? Psychic can look into the future or into the past, in our past or our future, right? Now, and by the way, what's really interesting is the psychic tarot readers make up 1%, if not less than 1% of tarot readers because they're just, unfortunately, those that have been psychics in the past and that have not, that have been charlatans, have given tarot a bad reputation, right? And how do you tell when someone's really a psychic or not? I really truly believe that there are psychics in the world, and I believe that it can be um, a hard road because I have my own gifts, and people can look at you like, oh, who the hell are you, and why are you like saying this, and it can be a scary thing. People can misunderstand or misinterpret what a real psychic is, or the different types of tarot readers. But I'm not going to get ahead of myself. So they connect sometimes with the spirit world, with those in our people in the spirit world as well. It really depends on the type of psychic. Um, yeah, and they basically can communicate with the supernatural sometimes. And yeah, so it can be scary. I'm not going to get too much into each type. I just want to kind of graze over the types. So that's the first type of tarot reader. The second type is the intuitive tarot reader, which I have a little bit of, but not just. And I'll get into that later. So the intuitive tarot reader has the uncanny ability to see and understand the truth that is often hard for ourselves to see. So you go to a tarot reader often with a question or with a frustration. You want to understand more. You want to be able to, just have clarity, right? And so in general, right? So the intuitive tarot reader will help separate the confusing thoughts from the truth, from your truth. Okay, there's not one truth. We all have our truth, right? And so they're like a shovel, right? They clear the path away of and help you clear the path of things that are not no longer serving you and that are not are sometimes they're toxic for us, or they just we don't even never know why they're still in our lives, right? There's sometimes it's just because other people, see us that way and they're in our lives because, well, that's the way people see me and expect that of me, right? Um, and so they help clear the irrelevant, right? And so that you can come to your truth and understand what that truth is. So that's an intuitive tarot reader. And I have my little papers helping me out. And so I will have more tools later to help me in my other videos, but I'm doing with what I have. So the next type of tarot reader is the empathic tarot reader, which uses our emotions because they feel what we feel, right? They sense the energies, but more like the emotions um, in your environment and decipher like the source of it, right? What's at the heart of that? Really confusing, overpowering emotion, right? They use emotions to get to the heart of your truth. Okay, see the difference between empaths and intuitive readers. They get to the same place, right, to get to the truth, but empaths use emotions. And yeah, the intuitive reader will use more like, that's interesting. Because I use my intuition a lot, so I'm trying to like use the right words. I do see energy, but it's more I will be prompted to ask certain questions and get to the heart of it. That's it. So anyway, coming back to the empathic tarot reader, um, so they can feel what we feel. So and they have a uncanny capacity or the capacity to understand what we're feeling. So thus being able to help us get to the source of the emotion to help us be able to move on and move towards our goals and dreams, right? Or what we want, whatever it is we want um, in our lives at the moment, right? So next is the holistic tarot readers. Now we have holistic tarot readers across the board, whether it be today in the modern world or when it was back in the day. But there's a few little differences with the traditional and with the modern. So the traditional is more, they use numerology, astrology, runes, human design, um, you know, crystals that amplify and clear energy, incense that protects and clears energy as well, and whatnot. So, astrology is with the stars and the planets and whatnot, right? And then you have numerology that uses the numbers and believes in the power of numbers. Human design is about, birth dates and character traits, where you were born, what time you were born, etc., etc. Crystals, crystals and incense, which I use as well, um, as I said, clarifies and clears and protects. So they basically use these things to enhance and accompany their readings, right? Um, and by the way, for empathic and intuitive, and also the first one, the psychic readers, they use these things, these gifts to in their tarot readings to enhance their tarot reading. Okay, so once again, they use tarot decks and the focus on the signs and the symbols, the archetypes, and they use metaphors, right, to understand your context and to help you understand your context and your situation more clearly so that you get that clarity that you've been looking for. All right, so next type of reader. Oh, so that's all for the traditional types of readers. Now, I do have a little side note to share with you. Few professional tarot readers fit perfectly into one of those categories. Most of the time, they each will have their own, like, take a little bit of each. Now, they'll have their like predominant or two predominant types, or even sometimes they use three. But each tarot reader has their mix of gifts, and they choose intuitively often, or what feels right to them in their tarot type of tarot reading. Okay, so just kind of throwing that at you. I really wanted to make that clear because it's why it's important to understand that no two tarot readers will do readings the same way. Okay, awesome. So now we move on to the modern tarot readers. Now the first one is holistic. Once again, we kind of got into that. The difference with the modern one is that they'll include like Reiki, Feng Shui, chakras, etc. in their readings. But that's the only real difference with the other, those crystals. They'll still use, still use astrology and numerology, just a little bit less. Human design is a bit more modern as well. They'll use the human design part of it. But if not, it's basically the same thing. So that's the modern holistic tarot reader. Then we get into the counselor, the tarot counselor. Now, often tarot counselors are either a counselor, but they're licensed. Okay, they are often licensed counselors, social workers, therapists, psychologists. Okay, they are, but they are licensed. They use tarot, with their clients, and to kind of enhance or to use it as a tool. Okay. Now I relate to this a lot because I kind of do this as well. But you'll see when I get into my type of tarot reading. And so it's a very, very fast growing trend, if you would like. A lot of therapists, as I said, counselors, social workers, and psychologists are more and more are using tarot with their clients as a tool and taking taking away the occult in the tarot and bringing in the more the psychological part of tarot, which is interesting. I really love that. So, which brings me to the next type of tarot reading, tarot coach, tarot reader, which is a tarot coach. I kind of give it away. Now, what do coaches do? Coaches help you identify your goals, your dreams, and then they form a plan with you so you can reach these goals, and then they accompany you and keep you motivated, right? So that's kind of like what a coach is. But they use tarot and encourage their clients to use tarot as well on their side, so that they can get even more insight, and they end up using not necessarily using intuition, but they do use a little bit more. They're encouraging the client to trust themselves, connect with their truth, and learn how to trust that truth, and using tarot doing it. Does that make it clear? And then we have the last type, which is the tarot interpreter. Now, this is really interesting. Once again, a very modern, much more recent type of tarot reader. They see tarot as a book, almost like once again, like a tool, but like in the book sense. So like sometimes prophetic texts, but that's less. No, but see, there is still a spiritual aspect to it. Okay, it's a tool that reflects what's in the unconscious mind, brings what's in the conscious mind into the conscious. So what's in the unconscious into the conscious, right, mind, or plane, if you want to call it, right, so that the info can be understood and used. So what's going on, in our unconscious, so that we can help are right now with all that confusion, and so we can get some clarity, right? Um, so it's like a translator. A translator translates the signs, the symbols, etc. But in this case, it will be the interpreter interprets the signs and the symbols and all, the elements of air and whatever that they understand in the cards, um, with a direct approach to the tarot cards, meaning literally looking at the cards in the right now and using that to bring and find clarity for the client. So it's really interesting how there are many different kinds of, and there are other kinds of tarot readers. These are just the general basic. I don't want to get like, there's hundreds of different types, but these are the general categories of tarot readers. Now, as for myself, I am more of I do use my intuition immensely, but I do also kind of like a tarot counselor. I use it as a tool. I do include the spiritual aspect because I do feel guided by your people and your guides from the spirit world, but it's more, I'm the conduit. I'm the in between. I have these gifts so that you can have more clarity. So I use my cards, which I will give an example. I will do a quick reading on Friday in my next live. Those of you that would like to join me. And so yeah, I use my intuition. Okay, when you say something, I'll use simple questions as well to get to the heart of what of the clarity that you're looking for. And if I'm doing a recorded reading, then I will truly, truly lean even more into my intuition and truly connect with what the cards are sharing with me, but that I'm receiving from your people and guides in the spirit world, spirit realm. Okay, so there is very much a spiritual side to what I do, but it's more to, instead of I want to dig into your past and I want to reach into your future, it's less about that. And it's more, for me, it's more about finding clarity right now in the situation or with the question that you have for me, whatever clarity you need in your life. And so it can be in your personal life, it can be in a relationship with someone, whether it be romantic or not. It can be with, in career or studies. It can be in so many different different parts of your life. It really depends on what type of clarity you're looking for. So I hope that makes things clear. Don't want to go on too long about it. And to finish up my video, I've been asked by quite a few people, like, okay, April, what are your prices? Like, I love your content, but like, what's going on? So I have decided to share my prices with y'all. I have decided to keep my prices a little bit lower until July. So my full on uh, one-on-one Zoom video or in person, depending if the person's here around me in Calgary or if the person's online. Doesn't matter. I do both. So what I do is I do it live on Zoom often. Then I will record it while I'm doing the reading. Afterwards, I send the recording and a picture of the cards with a quick resume of the reading, and I send all that to you via email. And the reading recording, I send it to you in a private link, YouTube link. Okay, so that's basically what I offer for that. And that package, if you want that tarot session, is $149. And then I will offer one that's a little bit less expensive. It's recorded, it's not live. And I send you the pictures and the recording as well in an email. And that package or that session is $129. So those are my prices at the moment. So those of you that are interested, absolutely reach out. It would be much a pleasure, and to help you get some clarity in your life. To finish up, what was I going to say? Oh, yes. So my next live is coming up. I'm going to be doing some juicy card reading for you guys here live on my channel. And if any of you have questions about the different types of readings as well, I'm going to look into that a little bit next week too, though. So that might answer whatever questions you might have. So once again, at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, I will be live right here on my YouTube channel. For those of you that would like to join me for my very first live tarot reading, I'll probably do more like a 2-card, not to make it too long. I might spontaneously do 3 cards. I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm going to decide when we get there. But yeah, so thank you once again for joining me today. If you enjoy my content and you come here regularly, I would appreciate so much if you like and subscribed to my channel. It really does encourage me, and it allows me to know who's here, who sees my content and whatnot. So much obliged. Thank you guys. It's been a pleasure. Bye.